So this is an interesting one for me because I've got a Dyson myself and I wanted to get inside and see what's going on. A friend of ours gave this to me, a lady, and she's already changed the switches and it didn't solve the problem. The problem is that the suction works. But the brush won't spin. So what I'm going to do is get inside and show you how I fixed it. I've already fixed it, so I'll show you how to get into the various components and what to do and what to look for. So just before I do that, I'll tell you a little bit about my thought process. So if you don't want to hear me droning on about my thought process, then just skip forward to the minutes that I'm going to show in the bottom corner. So the Dyson came to me like this, without this cover on the front, and I had a bag of bits here. The lady had already bought new switches, so it wasn't those, and the way that the power goes is it comes in from the mains here. So it comes in from the mains, it's AC, so the current switches as it goes through its cycles. So it goes in here, out of here when the switch is made, down this cable here, and then into the motor at the bottom. Now this switch here is for the brush, and one of the feeds goes down this wire to the motor, and the other feed goes from this wire into this switch, and it actually goes through this circuit breaker before it goes down this wire. Now this wire goes into the motor down here. So my thought process was that it was either this switch, and it isn't because I've tested the switch and that works fine. My second thought is that in here there's got to be a micro switch, because the brush won't turn when the cleaner is in the upright position. So you've got to unlock it, that will engage the micro switch, and then that will allow the power to get to the motor itself. Now so that's where I ended up looking inside here to see where this wire went and see what happened. So the first place I looked was inside the motor. I'm not going to get inside there now because there's not an awful lot you can do. And the way that you get there is you undo these screws here. Once you've undone all of those screws, then this cover comes off here, and the cover goes from here around there and all the way to there. So undo those screws, that cover comes off, that will reveal the motor itself, but that's not where the problem lay for this particular Hoover. Now in order to get in here you need a special bit, and it's a star-shaped bit. So I've got this set and it's brilliant. I've never found a screw that it can't undo. So let's have a look inside here. So I've already fixed this, but this is how you get the cover off, and I'll show you what went wrong. So the wire goes from here along the inside of here, and you can actually see it, and it ends up in this location here. So here's the micro switch, and as it stands up it opens the micro switch, no power getting through, and as the wheels go horizontal so that you can angle the Hoover, makes the micro switch, and then the power can go through these cables. So this cable here comes out at this white cable there. Now I've already fixed it, but you can see where I fixed it, and this cable is broken. So just have a look at the next picture and you'll see what it was like when I opened it up. So I was really pleased to see this wire broken, because immediately I thought I found the problem, and sure enough, as soon as I've soldered this together and I've put some covering on it, when I fired it up the whole thing worked as it should do. So the reason that it broke in the first place, I think, is because this wire was too short, and that was from the manufacturer. So let me just show you what happens as you move the hoover. So as you hoover, you can see that these wires, they get some tension on them. Now when I repaired this, I put the wire probably about ½ an inch longer than it was before, and even now I think it's just about right. So you can imagine the tension that was on there, and basically what happened is it just broke in this location. So it was quite a simple fix in the end. The more complicated bit was putting the switches back together, which I'll cover in a moment. So it came as a bag of bits, and what I've got is the housing, 2 switches, 2 springs, plastic thing, and then 3 screws. So it's quite simple to work out that this hole there slides in there, and same the other side. There is a sequence they've got to go in, and you can see that these will press on the switches, so that's fine. And then these springs are probably to hold the switches up, to give it a bit of tension. So I'm not going to draw it out, but basically after a lot of head scratching and offering this up to different parts, I found that this fits in there like that. And then the spring here goes in this little recess just there, and then that holds the clip back. Okay, next bit is to put both switches in this housing. So this spring here sits on there, the other end sits on there like that. And then when this goes together, it puts pressure to hold the switch up. So let's put the whole thing back together then. So this is another tricky fiddly bit, and it's getting these pressure plates here sitting on top of there, engaging these lugs in there. Okay. Now to secure that in place, you've got to take this hose out. Okay, and the 3 screws go in these 3 holes, one there, one there, and one there. So with those 3 screws in place, that front cover's on. Now I'll put it back together again and see if it works. Okay, moment of truth. Rightio, that's another job complete, and pleased to say that one's working. Thanks for watching.